Hi, it's Penny here, and today we're going to be doing two things. First, I wanted to share with you my thoughts about Tress of the Emerald Sea, Brandon Sanderson's first secret project book. And then as well, because the secret project books have been late to send out, they decided to send out the February merch boxes. So I'm going to open this one, but I'll do it at the end. So if you don't want spoilers for what's in the box, you can skip out for that bit. I'm a bit sad because this box is quite nice, but on the back, like, don't look at my address, but there's all these horrible postage stickers all over it, ruining it. Anyway, let's talk about Tress of the Emerald Sea. So what is this book about? Brandon Sanderson says that he wrote this book after watching The Princess Bride with his family one night. The Princess Bride was one of my most favorite movies when I was a kid. I have also read the book. The book is a lot less wholesome than the movie and also than what Brandon Sanderson is doing with Tress of the Emerald Sea. But when they were watching the Princess Bride movie, his wife said, "I wish that Buttercup, the princess, had been more proactive and not just waited around to be saved." So Brandon Sanderson wrote this book for her. And it is a story of a young girl who lives isolated on this rock in the middle of the ocean. She's quite happy with her life. She doesn't have a desire for adventure, but she ends up going on a quest to save the love of her life. Overall, I would say the plot is pretty simple and it's also pretty low stakes because this whole book is written in such a wholesome way. I never felt like I had to be worried about any of the characters. So it never really feels like there's a lot at risk, even when there are some dangerous things happening. I think if this book had been written in a very different style, it could have been a very different story. So I do think the writing style for this isn't going to be for all of Brandon Sanderson's fans. I've seen people who've loved it and people who've hated it. I'm kind of in the middle, like I didn't mind it, but I do prefer his more epic fantasy books where he's including a lot of real life struggles and making his characters go through some really hard things. And Tress does go through some difficult things, but it's never written in a way that doesn't make you believe that she'll overcome any problems she comes across. As well, in this book, Brandon Sanderson is just having a lot of fun with his writing. It's written from the perspective of a character named Hoid, who is in other books of the Cosmere, and he is a storyteller. So this is written in a very fantasy storyteller kind of style. There's a lot of humor in it that doesn't always hit the mark. I know some people, of course, humor is very subjective, so some people love the humor. I could take it or leave it. It's sometimes a little bit much, in my opinion. As well, there are a lot of bits throughout the book where Brandon Sanderson just kind of puts in a bunch of thoughts or pearls of wisdom. Some of those I liked, but some of them did seem to meander off kind of like to the point where I'd be like, wait, are we going to come back to the story? But some of those wild thoughts I did like, so sometimes you got to take the good with the bad. Then as far as the characters go, I did really like Tress and how practical she is. The book actually, it's written in a very self-aware style, so it calls out how practical she is all the time and takes the time to appreciate her taking the time to think. And I really liked Tress as a person and as a character. I do wonder if she's somewhat based on Brandon Sanderson's wife, who I imagine would have to be a fairly practical person to balance Brandon out. Unfortunately, Tress was really the only character that I liked in this book. She ends up on this ship, and the crew of the ship reminded me a lot of the pirate crew from Cytonic, the third book in the Skyward series. And unfortunately for me, that is not a compliment. I felt like Cytonic was just incredibly silly, and even though there's some amazing ideas in there, the execution just annoyed me, the whole thing. And a lot of the focus of that book was on this pirate crew and their hijinks and their eccentricities, and I just felt the whole thing was very silly. And I felt the same way about this ship's crew in Tress of the Emerald Sea. I didn't feel like any of the characters were really fully developed. They seemed more like caricatures of different kinds of people. And even though they are important to the overall message of the story, and I did like that message, I just didn't really care about this part of the book where we were on the ship, which unfortunately is most of the book. I think as well it's this whole thing where throughout the book I didn't really ever believe anything bad was going to happen, so I never was worried about these characters, and that's part of why I didn't care about them. And I think Brandon Sanderson was really trying to focus on these characters being really quirky rather than feeling real like some of his other characters do in his other books. Then the themes of this book are mainly around being practical, being kind, working through your problems step by step. Also, I think because I have an interest in management and leadership theory, I noticed that was one of the themes of this book, just as I have noticed it being a theme in especially the Stormlight books, but also Elantris and Mistborn. And one day I'd kind of like to have like a management book club where we talk about all the Cosmere books in relation to leadership theory. But in this book, it is very different. Like in the Stormlight books, we have Dalinar and Kaladin, Jasna, all kind of doing leadership in a very different way from Tress, who is much more about being practical and being kind. There's a large theme in the book about learning to trust other people. Like overall, it's just very wholesome. But my most favorite thing about this book was the world. And I am hoping that Brandon Sanderson will write like a more realistic story within this world at some point, because there's so much to this world that we didn't get to explore at all. So in this world, there are 12 moons that drop spores onto the planet, and these spores fill the ocean. And each of these 12 different spores are different colors and also have magic that works in different ways. The sea that Tress lives in, when the spores get wet, they grow into plants, which can be used for really great things, but also is incredibly dangerous, because if you get these spores inside you and they will get wet because you are made of water, suddenly there's a plant growing through your head. So I know I've kind of said I was never worried about these characters, but there are dangerous things going on. And some of the other spores as well are incredibly dangerous, and that I would love to see explored in a darker way. I also just think the way that he described the spores falling from the sky was so beautiful. I would love to see like a Studio Ghibli animation of this story. I think it could be really great. And also, I am really looking forward to getting the physical book, because in the ebook there is art throughout the book, but it's black and white on my Kindle, so I couldn't appreciate it fully, but I am looking forward to the actual art in the actual book. I did also want to ask if anybody else can see the similarities between this world with the spores falling from the moons to the world of the Dragons of Pern series. I know Anne McCaffrey is an author that Brandon Sanderson has listed as an inspiration, and in the Dragons of Pern series there's a planet that passes by irregularly, and when it does, this thread falls from the sky and destroys anything it touches, because it like grows like crazy and kills everything else. Very similar, I think. And also you can see the inspiration of Pern in his Cytonic series, where some people are able to like teleport using their minds, and the way that it describes this kind of in-between state while they're teleporting is very similar to the way the dragons in the Dragons of Pern series can teleport. I always think it's interesting to see how authors have influenced each other and how all these stories kind of fit together. So I think that's most of my thoughts for Tress of the Emerald Sea. I am planning to do a reread of all of the Cosmere and spend a lot more time going through the details, because I do think this book, there are references to the bigger Cosmere, and I sometimes felt like I was missing out on things, because even though I've read a lot of the Cosmere, some of the bigger Cosmere stuff I haven't paid attention to because I've been focused on the specific story. And like, I totally think you can read this book, and if you don't know the bigger Cosmere stuff, you won't even notice those bits maybe, but because I know enough of the Cosmere, but I don't have like an in-depth memory of it, I felt like I was missing out on things. So I will probably reread this book once I've done my reread of the rest of the Cosmere book. So yeah, that's my thoughts of Tress of the Emerald Sea. Do comment down below if you want to talk about any of the things I've said, or if you have any other thoughts you'd like to discuss. Otherwise, I am now going to open this box, so if you don't want to know what's in the box, disappear. I'm a little bit worried because this is the Hoid Box, so that's the character I talked about being in Tress of the Emerald Sea, and he's in a lot of Cosmere things. I have not paid enough attention to Hoid. I don't know if I like Hoid, but I think I don't like him as much as Brandon Sanderson does. So I'm a little bit concerned that I'm not necessarily going to be the target market for this box. Also, I think one of the things in here is a t-shirt, and I have no memory of picking a size, even though hopefully Past Penny did something intelligent there. Hopefully. Alright, so let's open the box. Actually, let me restart you so we can have some better focusing going on, and also so my camera doesn't stop in the middle of this. Okay, so I'm going to open this and see what we've got. It's just tissue paper. Oh, it says, the purpose of a storyteller is not to tell you how to think, but to give you questions to think upon. Wit. Which is another name for Hoid. Okay, so we got some red paper. Don't need that. We've got a card with, I guess, the information about what's in this box. I have a mouse pad. I guess this is a mouse pad. Should I look? Yes, it's a mouse pad. I don't use mouse pads, but I do sometimes have problems with my desk being dirty and my mouse not working, so maybe I need to use a mouse pad. Is this the mouse pad I would have chosen if I could choose anything? You know, I actually like it, but without Hoid. Maybe I can cut it in half. Wow, I am not a Cosmere fan, or not as much of a Cosmere fan as I should be to be getting this box. Anyway, what else have we got? We've got a little pin. This is Hoid. It's pretty cute. I don't mind it. I don't really know what to do with pins though, but I like them. So there's that. What else have we got? You know, this is my favorite part. I think these are post-it notes. Are they post-it notes? Honestly, I love post-it notes. What a geek am I for post-it notes to be my favorite part of this box. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Scrum Master. I feel like if you know I'm a Scrum Master, you would know, you would laugh at me for liking post-it notes. So this one says dream big, idiot, and this one says there are still stories to tell. I'll include better pictures of that, but I will definitely use those. And then before I look at the t-shirt, there's also these stickers. They're very bright. They say, where have you left your Hoid sticker? Share, Hoid was here. No vandalism, please. So I guess these are stickers that say Hoid was here. Also ones that say contains 100% pure nonsense. And there's like a hashtag for you to share where you've posted them. Honestly, wouldn't vandalism be the funnest places to leave things? But anyway, I guess we'll have to think about where we could leave these stickers. But I see Brandon Sanderson's trying to start some kind of social media thing. Alright, then we've got the t-shirt. What size do you think I got? I don't know. It actually feels very nice. I wasn't expecting it to feel nice. Oh, this looks like it will fit me. Well done, Petty. So, it's basically just this picture. It actually gives me Star Trek vibes. Am I the only one it gives Star Trek vibes to? So, it's a Hoid t-shirt. Will I wear this? I don't know. I don't know. It does feel very comfortable though. It said, actually it says Hoid for president. I don't know if I like that. Anyway, I kind of like the picture. Can I just like rub the words off? I don't know. Do I wear clothes with people on the front like this? I don't know, but it feels very comfortable. Let me put it on. Let me put it on. Okay, you know what? I don't think I necessarily like the style of this t-shirt, but it is very comfortable. So that gives me a lot of hope for future boxes where the designs might be more my style. But also, I could just wear this to bed or something. Oh, it feels quite nice. I wasn't expecting it to be that good. So I guess lastly, at the bottom of the box, there is a thank you message. It says, thank you, I have the best fans in the world. You've proven that to me time and again. You are awesome, you are amazing, and you have incredible taste in books. Brandon Sanderson and Team Dragonsteel. Okay, so definitely the post-it notes are the most exciting thing, but the t-shirt I'm probably going to wear all day because it feels nice. Anyway, let me know what you thought about the things in this box. Do you love post-it notes as much as me? Or are you someone who didn't buy these boxes and now you've seen what's in them, you're glad about it? Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope that you are doing well and I will see you next time.